What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this I want to break down what's happening with the overall market moving forward. Please note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed a 12 free stocks. If you deposit $500 or more, you're guaranteed 20. If you deposit $2,000 or more, you're guaranteed 40. The offer ends very soon in just 6 days. Anyways, now let's talk about the market, guys. I think the market has pumped very, very nicely. Hopefully, you guys were watching my video to catch that pump because you could have made some good money. But like I always say in my videos, I'm not here to really give you guys financial advice, but I would have taken profits if I were scalping this or day trading this. So when I was recording my videos yesterday, SPY was in the just under 580, and I was talking about how there's going to be a pump coming. In my morning video, SPY was around just under 581, and I said there's going to be a pump coming. I said the same thing again and again, and we got this big pump. The pump really came. SPY went all the way up to 584, just under all-time highs. And then after that, we start to see a bit of a rejection. So now SPY is starting to slow down. So that's the way my videos work, right? It's like chapters in a book. Chapter 1 was we got the pump. Now chapter 2 is suggesting something different. The market's always changing. That's why I'm always making these adjustments. And I want you guys to be very conscious of that. I'm not necessarily like a flip-flopper. It's more like I'm just going over what chapter 1 was telling us, which was the pump. Chapter 2 is telling us there's going to be a bit of a pullback, and then the list goes on from there. So I hope that's as clear as possible. Anyways, as far as the market is gone, the Michigan consumer sentiment data was all very close to expectations. Not too bad. Sentiment was above expectations. Then the 5-year inflation expectations was not too bad. That's why the market ended up pumping. But I also want to mention this. I had a very interesting setup I want to show you guys. So when you look at SPY, right, we had this rising wedge-like structure. And just keep in mind, I never touched my wedge. I'm keeping it exactly the same for the last couple of weeks. It's the same wedge, and this is how it's been looking, right? We're basically respecting this very nicely, rising, rising, rising. And then as of recent, we actually started to break below the wedge. So not the best of signs here, right? We broke below the wedge and we formed a pennant right over here, and then we got a breakout out of it. But look at where we ended up projecting. We ended up hitting the wedge to a T. And instead of breaking through the wedge, we got a rejection off of it so far. So SPY must reclaim 582. If we don't reclaim 582 at the very least, that's going to give us potential to turn back up if we do hold above 582. If we can't hold that, I do see a risk of us coming back down to 580.8 and then potentially even all the way down to 579.5 by next week. We could be looking for a retest of the 580 area, so a bit of a dip could be coming if we don't reclaim 582. All right, so keep that in mind, guys. We're forming a wick here. It does look like SPY is slowing, so I want to get this video out there as fast as possible so I can give you guys the warning. I also want to mention that we have 5,900 being tested on ES. We got a rejection off of that. So we got this big pump, guys. The pump did come, we were talking about. Now we're slowing down. So I think we're going to be retesting these EMAs at 58.65 very soon. If that does not hold us, we're looking for 58.50. Look for a small slowdown on ES as well. For Nvda pumped very nicely. We had this resistance around this 144 area. This is a tough resistance, so we were not able to break through this. So just be careful. I think Nvda is going to be range bound between 142 and 144. But if we lose 142, we could be dipping. So just keep that in mind. But overall, like I said before, we're still doing a good job at holding up, outperforming the market. Bitcoin is dipping exactly as predicted. It reached my target of 67,750. We're going to be looking at 67,500 as our next support, followed by 67,191. If that fills us, we're looking for a dip. If this holds, we could attempt to rebound, but just be careful off this double top as we could be dipping to the lower 67,000 area. For Tesla, we pushed very, very nicely. We were talking about how this could be dipping to my targets were between 252 and 250. I thought Tesla might be hitting that range before we attempt to see buyers step in. We actually came a little bit short of hitting that target. We ended up hitting about 253 instead before we saw a nice bounce on Tesla. I mentioned to you all the resistance levels in my earlier video. So what's happening is Tesla hit this tough resistance around 270. It's a very, very tough area between 268 and 270. If the market slows down, this could drag Tesla down to about 265, and we'll see if it holds around those areas, 262 and 265. But nonetheless, Tesla is still very strong and it has so much upside potential. We're at a tough resistance, which is going to slow it down for the time being. So I think we're going to see a lot of sideways price action between 270 and 265 for today. And then, excuse me, just know that if the market does slow more, that could also affect Tesla. So look at 265 to be retested and a lot of sideways price action for the time being. For NQ, we pumped very, very nicely, but check out this resistance I had marked over here. So we pumped basically to these key levels. we hit 20,700. If this does not hold and we don't hold above that, we could be looking for a retest of 20,570 followed by 20,500. So we got to hold above 20,700 or else there's a risk of us coming back down to these resistance areas. So give this the time it needs. For the QQQ, we're pushing very nicely. We have 500 as resistance. It is a tough resistance though, so be careful. And if we don't hold above that, we're looking for 496 as our main support. So give that the time it needs. We might see the QQQ slow a little bit if we can't break past 500. I know it's a tough resistance, so give it the time it needs. Aapl pumped very nicely. We're looking at basically 231.4 as our main resistance. I'm sorry, 232 is our resistance, and our main support is 231.4. We'll see if we hold 232 or not. If we don't, we could be dipping back down to 231.4, then 230. So it might actually make its way back down if we can't hold above 232. So give it the time it needs. For the IWM Russell 2000, I also want to mention that we've done a pretty good job at getting that push, but just be careful. I did give you guys a warning about this gap down here. So we pushed to 222, then rejected. Now we're looking for a dip. We could actually dip down to fully fill this gap to about 219.8 by next Monday or the coming Monday. So just be mindful of that. For others out there, we have Coinbase. We're holding very nicely. I think we're going to see a lot of sideways price action between 207 and 214. We pushed up to 214. We weren't able to break past it, so I think we're just range bound. But if we lose 207, we could be dipping, so just be mindful of that. 207 to 214 is our range. For Amazon, we pushed to 190 as we predicted, but now be careful because every time we've hit 190 for the last couple of weeks, we rejected, and we'd like to get bought up around 185. So if 190 does not hold, we're looking for a dip back down to 187.5. Amazon might dip a little bit. Meta pumped very nicely to about 580, only to start dipping and back down. So look at resistance at 576.5. If we can't break through that, we're looking for 573.5 as our next support. And then for Microsoft, we're looking for basically this resistance at 430. We pumped very nicely. It might actually outperform the market. Could retest the 428s before it attempts to bounce again. It still looks quite bullish. We need to lose 424 to turn more bearish. We're still well above that, and the chart looks like it's showing a lot of strength compared to the market. So with that being said, Tesla's back in the 265s already, are very close to that as we predicted. SPY is now shuffling at 582 at the time I'm recording this, but just be careful, guys, because like I said before, if we don't hold above 582 or close above it, there is going to be that risk of us slowing down just a bit because we ended up retesting the wedge. We touched it only to see us slow down after that. So just be careful, guys. I'm going to give you guys that heads up that we could dip a little bit on the markets after getting so much of a push already. And that's completely normal. It's not necessarily anything abnormal. I thank you all for listening. Have a great day. I'll be back in a couple more hours to give you guys another update. But that's what I'm seeing for the market thus far. There is a risk of us kind of pulling back a bit if we don't hold some key supports, and we're just kind of shuffling at them for now. All right, so I'll see you guys soon, and peace out.